Thanks everyone for joining us today. My name is Dan Sykes and I work on the marketing team here at Milner Browne. Presenting alongside me is Richie Egon, our technical sales consultant and our product expert here at Milner Browne. And today Richie will be giving you a demonstration on simple production. So if you are ready, Richie, I will pass it on to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. Good afternoon everyone, and thank you for joining me for this demonstration of simple production. So let's go and see what we're going to cover today. First of all, we'll look at what simple production is. I'll give you a brief rundown on the technology and the solution that we're showing today. What does it mean for us, or more particularly, what will it mean for you and your business, and how can it help with the processes that you may be doing through your production facility? We'll look at which processes are actually covered through the simple production solution. So these will really relate to issuing materials to production jobs, recording and issuing time against those jobs. We'll look at some quality check, quality assurance functionality that we have within simple production, and we'll be able to receive finished goods as well as being able to have the functionality to reject finished goods. We'll look at costs and how that would translate into a return on investment for your business, and we can discuss possible upgrade options as well to a larger, more encompassing solution, which we would call big warehouse management. This really would look more at the issuing of material as well as the movement of general material in your warehouse, movement of finished goods, etc. So we can speak a little around that. And finally, we'll take any questions and hopefully get those answered off towards the end of the presentation. So first of all, what is simple production? It's a solution that we have developed at Milner Browne. And as I kind of hinted at earlier, it's a tool that you can use to go and issue material to production orders and record any time. So anyone who is upgraded to the necessary version to know about the concept of resources in Business One, you can build resources into your bills of material. What this tool will allow you to do is actually issue time for those resources against particular production orders. And we'll be able to go and see that inside the demonstration. We'll have the ability to have a quality assurance check. So this is really a set of questions that you can define. And you can have your production users answer those questions as part of the production process. Naturally, as you would expect, we can receive finished goods, so we process any production orders specifying both a quantity that have passed quality assurance and can now be received, as well as any goods that haven't made the grade and have to be rejected. And we can also return any unused materials as well, so we can have a look at that. Simple production does run within a web browser, so similar to a larger product, big WMS. It can run within a web browser as well as being on a handheld device. The idea is really to have access or expand the functionality of SAP Business One to users who don't necessarily need a full SAP license, but do need to have some interaction with the system. So it does support barcode scanning, which will cut down on any paper processes that you may have, or running back and forward to someone who does have access to Business One and asking them to process transactions on your behalf. We can have this hosted either in the cloud or on-premise, depending on what implementation that you have. So what does it mean, and where are the benefits of simple production? So as I said, scanning barcodes, it's much faster than even writing down information or keying information into a system, although you can still key information into the simple production solution where you don't have any barcodes for particular materials. You don't have to move back and forward to someone who does have access to Business One and has access to a machine. Increased accuracy. So choosing the correct materials, if you're dealing with serial numbered items or batch numbered items, keeping track of those can be a time-consuming process. So certainly by using simple production, this will help with this and keep all of your materials and serial numbered items up to date, accounted for, and help with your traceability through your production process. We can confirm that the actual correct stock is being moved by scanning the item. The solution will identify if you're using incorrect materials. And finally, real-time progress. You can have visibility now throughout the business as to what is being done in real time. So a few things on that. You can see which materials are still available, which materials have been issued to jobs. You can check on the progress of production by seeing which transactions have been processed, which ones have not. And you can manage a real-time work in progress valuation by issuing material to production orders as well as issuing time to production orders. Processes that we're going to look at today: we will issue materials, we will issue time to production orders, we will go through a quality check procedure, we will receive finished goods, and we will reject finished goods and see how all of this flows through the system. So we can get straight into the demonstration now, and I can show you what we have here. So I'm going to show this within a web browser, so I'll just resize that here, but it can run on different devices. So I just take this over here, and you can see if I resize the window, it will resize itself to go and suit the environment that it's operating within. Okay, so I'll go back to my main menu here, and it is a user-based system, although you do not need to have an SAP Business One license to use this functionality, but you can control which users do have access and which users don't have access to the system. You can have on simple production up to 5 users. You can have licensed. So whether it's 1 user or whether it's 5 users, the price is the same, and I'll cover some of the pricing at the end. So I'm going to go into my Business One here, and let's begin the process by creating a production order. So I have an item here, which is very, very simple item. And we'll have a look at that and have a look at the bill of materials that sits behind this one. So we can see here that I have 2 items on here. In order to make up 1 finished goods, which is a serial tracked item, I need to have 1 of raw material number 3, 1 of raw material number 4, and I need some resource time. So I have here a resource called assembly, and it needs a certain amount of time on that resource to go and complete the finished item. Very straightforward bill of materials. Okay, so I would say I would like to go and create 2 of these, and I can now add this to the system. And if I just go back to that, what I will do here is I'll actually go and flag this one as being released now, and we're ready to go and start production. Excellent. Okay, so we can now go into the simple production system, and one thing to note here is that we don't store any data within the simple production system. It's purely any transaction that is done. Wherever we need to go and read information, it's done in real time from SAP Business One, and wherever we need to go and post a transaction back to SAP, it happens in real time. We don't have any synchronization going on or anything like that. Okay, so let's get into the production functionality here. And I can, if I don't know the production order that I'm dealing with, I can click on process here, and it can give me a list of all of the production orders that are currently outstanding. If I do know the production order that I'm dealing with, in this case it's number 163, I can simply type that in for speed. When we get into here, we can see that we now have access to another screen. So the first thing that I can do is I can click on details. And within details here, I can have an overview of everything that's involved with producing this item. So I can see the raw materials that are required, I can see the planned quantity, and I can see how many that we've already issued, which in this case so far is none, and I can see the status of that particular line with respect to the production order. Okay. Next thing we could do is we could actually issue some material now to this production order. So again, I can be scanning barcodes here if I had barcodes set up. Obviously for this demonstration I don't have a barcode scanner, so I will be typing things and clicking on things, but you can use this with barcode scanning functionality. And I can say which items would I like to issue here. So I'm going to issue some raw material number 3. Now I have bin locations set up in this warehouse. It works fully with this as well. So I say I want to go and issue these from this particular bin location. I could either scan this at this point or select it from the list of available bin locations. And I could choose the quantity that I would like to issue from that location. So in this case I would like to go and issue 2 of raw material number 3, and I can click on next. Because raw material number 3 is actually a serial tracked item, Simple Production identifies that, and it asks you to specify a serial number. So in this case here, I have two options. I could either scan or type the serial number, the first one that comes to hand, or I can press on A here and Simple Production will look up an automatic allocation. In this case it's picked this particular serial number, which is the first one that it's found, and I can accept that or change that at this point. So I'll say OK. So that's the first unit issued. You can see now that I have 1 here as still outstanding, so I would like to go and issue another item here. So I'm going to go and choose same bin location again. I want to go and issue 1 from here. Again, I'm going to automatically choose which item I would like to go and issue to the production order. It's number 301 here is the serial number, and I can click on OK. Excellent. Okay, so now this line has disappeared, and I can say here, right, I want to go and issue the remaining items here. So I'll choose this bin here. For raw material number 4, again, for this demo, I am automatically choosing the serial number. I have that. We'd like to go and issue another now. Choose the same bin. Click on next. Automatically issue the serial number. So now at this point we have everything issued that we would need to for this particular production order. I can at this point return some items here, so I can see that I have issued 2 of each of these, but I do have, let's say we discovered one of them was damaged, we do have the functionality to go and say, right, okay, we'd like to go and return a particular item and perhaps go and issue another item out. So we have the functionality to do that. Okay, so now we go into the resource time capture. So when I click on resource, Simple Production will identify a full list of all of the resources that are involved in producing this item. Now I only have 1 here, which is some time that I would like to use on assembly. So I'm going to go and click on this now, and the system will ask me, it will tell me how much time it expects as per the bill of materials that I would need to spend on this particular job. And it now asks me to specify my user password, which is a method of tracking which user is performing the transaction here. So I will enter my password and click on Start. Okay, so we can now see that the status here has now changed to in progress. So I would go and work away on this, and we can see that a new button here, which is active resource, has appeared. So I can click on this here, and I can see for this particular production order all of the jobs that are currently being worked on. Okay, so I can click on this here, and let's say I had to go away for a break. So I can go and say, right, I would like to go and pause this one for now. Or I can go into this and I can say, right, I've paused. So you can see here the status is paused. I can go and click on restart to say, right, okay, I'm now continuing on with this particular job, and the system will start to go and record more time against that job for me. Okay. When I've completed, now you don't need to complete the full quantity. You can do this in partial quantities, so let's say you're making 10, and after a certain period of time, perhaps for the full day, I have completed 3 of these finished goods. I can specify that I would like to go and stop now and say that I've created 3 during that period. I'll keep things simple and I'll say during the time that I've been working on this, I have produced 2 and I would now like to go and stop. Okay, and if I go back and look at my active resources, we can see that now the resource time here has been recorded. So what will happen in the background is we're recording a start time, we're recording an end time, but we're also recording the continuous time that's been spent on this particular job. Now the benefit of this is you can actually use this for reporting, so you can see what times have actually been spent on jobs, you can refine your bill of materials, as well as this will be posted to your work in progress account to say, okay, we have issued this amount of time to this particular job, and you could start to go and get complete visibility on how much time you're actually needing to take to go and produce items. Okay, so So we'll go back at this stage now and we'd say, right, okay, of the 2 items that we produced, one of these we would like to say has been completed. So we can specify a serial number for it at this stage. I'll just type in anything in here, and I can go and post that. And click on post, and that will now do a receipt from production and receive that into SAP Business One. If I want to have an additional step where I would go through a quality assurance process, I can do that by clicking on here. And we can have the system configured so that it will automatically launch this each time. Now, the system's asking me for a number of answers to a number of questions. And we can configure the way that these are actually displayed. So in this case, on the first screen, I have one question here where it's asking me to specify the batch number of ink that was used. So I'll specify this in here and go on to the next question. Then I need to go and specify the oil batch number. So I can do that and go into the next question. Now the way my system is configured is the next 3 questions all appear together on the system. So I can give answers, so you can see already that I have the ability to have text box answers or radio buttons. So I can say yes, I can specify a date in here, for example, and I can give yes, no answers here and go into the next set of questions and specify some more numbers or texts or whatever it may be that's relevant to your business. Okay, and that's my final question, and it now asks me to provide some comments, so I'll put some comments in here. Click on next. Again, it's asking me to identify the user that's actually performing this transaction, and now I have completed the quality assurance for that particular production order. For rejecting items, finally, we can go into here and again specify a serial number of an item that has been rejected, click on post, and it will then do a receipt for production, but it will flag the item as being rejected. Okay, so let's have a look now at the impact that that's had on SAP Business One on our production order. So if I right click here on the production order and go into my relationship map, we can see now that we have a number of transactions which are based upon this production order and what's happened in here. And if I expand this here, we can go and look at some of the transactions that have actually happened. So I can have a look here at my issue for production, and we can see here that we had issued a particular raw material number 3 in this case, and this will have the particular serial number associated with it. So all of our issues here are for material and any time that we've had against the particular production order that we've processed. We'll also have receipt for production as well, so I can go into here and see here's the one item that I had completed, and I can also see the receipt from production here, and we could see the one item that was rejected as well. So you can see that any transactions that we do within simple production reflect back in real time in SAP Business One. So you can have an overview as to the status that you're at with production and record any times, transactions, users who are actually influencing these transactions back in SAP. If I close this now and refresh my production order and display my user-defined fields, we can see here that I have a user-defined field which is called quality report, and based upon the answers that I gave for my QA questions, you can see here that these have now fed back into SAP Business One. So I have my comments that I specified, any batch number for the ink, batch number for the oil, etc., all of the values that I had previously given there. So they feed back into SAP, and you can have these recorded and they're visible for all users to see, whether you're a production user or whether you're just a normal SAP user. Okay. So now really getting into the costs. What is the cost to go and implement this solution? So we have two different prices, one for Euro, one for GBP. For Euro, the price is €8,000, and for GBP it's 7,500 GBP. What's included with this? So if you want to opt for paying for the solution outright, this will include everything that you would need to get up and running from a software and services perspective. Obviously, we don't supply any hardware, so any hardware or wireless access points that you would need to install would be over and above the costs. We wouldn't supply this. But what this does include is it includes any services that you need to get the system up and running. It includes the software licensed for up to 5 users. But we do have another option. It also includes maintenance as well for the duration of 2018. We have a second option as well. If you want to finance this, we can look at setting up a finance agreement. Final prices and rates would be subject to your status, but we envisage that the costs would typically be for Euro €340 per month, and for sterling £305 per month over a period of 3 years. Again, this includes all the services that you would need to get the system up and running, and this one does actually include maintenance for the duration of the finance agreement. So you would have maintenance with this product up until the end of 2020 in that case. Okay. You can, obviously the benefits for your business is you can save time, you can have your production environment running more efficiently, running more accurately, and you can have better visibility as to what's happening in production and real-time reporting and real-time work in progress accounting. You do also have the option to expand and upgrade this product to Big WMS. So Big WMS has many more features. For a start, we have many more options to do with standard warehousing. So goods in, goods out, moving stock between locations, stock transfer, stock counting, as well as having customizations. So you can have a big warehouse management system customized to suit your particular operational requirements. It uses the same platform as the simple production method, so it is a fairly simple upgrade process. Big warehouse management has more than 300 configuration options, which can allow the flow and the way that the product would actually work. As I said, you have many more processes that you can be involved with from a warehousing perspective. You can have access to set up hotkeys, so shortcuts, so you can streamline the process even further. You can have unlimited users with big warehouse management, whereas with simple production there is a limit of 5 that's in place. You can have automatic printing of paper-based documents as well as labels. And with big warehouse management you can customize any labels, barcode labels that you would need to print. With simple production, yes, you can print labels, but they're of a specified template and format. You can change the way that the system is displayed and customize what each user can do. with big warehouse management, whereas simple production is very much a templated approach. What you see is what you get, that type of thing. And with big warehouse management, we do log what each user is doing at a transactional level, so you can see when they're logged into a session and each transaction that they're performing, and have a full history of that. So that concludes everything that I would like to show you today, and I'll just hand back to Dan at this stage.
Thanks, Richie, for your presentation. Anyone interested in finding out more about simple production, please make sure to get in touch with your account manager, or you can always email us on support@milnerbrowne.com. As I mentioned earlier, we are recording the webinar, so we'll be sending it out to everyone to view again. And like I said, feel free to send that on to your colleagues. And you can always look at our YouTube channel as well if you're interested in more of our products. So I think that wraps it up. Thanks again, Richie, for your presentation, and thanks to the attendees who joined us today. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day and look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Thanks again, and bye for now.